Wait a minute. Hello, everybody. We'll wait a few more minutes, maybe 5 minutes, see how many people come in. All right, so I don't know how to play the music again. I'm still waiting until about 2:05. I'm not sure if people can hear me. If you can like send an emoji or something. Okay, I think it's fine, actually. We can just start. So don't worry, I'll definitely let people come up if they want to speak. But let me begin with a long monologue. So thank you all for being here. It's been about 3 or 4 months now since all the terrible situation at AAX. So if I'm correct, this session is automatically being recorded. So I'm happy to share that afterwards with one of the Telegram groups or something like that. So before we get started, I want to clarify 3 things. First of all, a few days ago, I called the Hong Kong Police Department and I had a conversation with one of the officers, basically to let them know about this AMA and for any guidance that they might have. And so I was advised to speak from my own experience, but when it comes to the ongoing investigation, especially in relation to individuals or either those that were arrested or are wanted for investigation, I should refrain from commenting. So it's never easy because when I was with AX, there's corporate interest and you're not able to say what you do and want. And, it's a very complicated situation. But now again, we do have to respect that process. And in this case, that is the investigation that's ongoing. Second thing that I want to say is that I'm here voluntarily. I'm very happy that many of you have come, and probably others will wait for the recordings. I'm not looking for vindication or forgiveness or even sympathy. I want to clarify that, however terrible the story is, and however much it looks like so many other things that we've seen in the industry, I'm not SBF, I'm not Do Kwon, I'm just myself. I was not arrested, I was not a suspect, I was not charged. I've been in regular contact with the police force. I made a 6-hour statement on video. I've invited police into my home to do a house search for any relevant documentation. I didn't flee Hong Kong. I didn't delete my association with AX on LinkedIn. And as you know, no one else faced you except for some Telegram admins. And I know that I was the public figure for AX. So I believe, especially in the first month, I did my best to face you. I'm not employed by AX at the moment and already for months. And however terrible it is, I'm not responsible for your funds. But I'm here. I think it's the right thing to do, especially since I've announced my position with MaskX. In this spaces, I just hope for a good conversation with everybody. As you know, any spam, I know that I block because it's, at the end you want to keep your Twitter clean. But I am open to this conversation. As I mentioned, it's going to be a bit of a monologue, and I'm very sorry about that, but that's because I want to answer each question that was asked on my Twitter thread, and I'm going to do it very fast. I took a lot of notes, and that's what I'll do, and then I'll open up basically the floor. Sorry, any ad hoc questions. So while I'll try to answer your questions, you should know, and there's no other reality to it, I was not involved with finances, liquidity, tech infrastructure, custody, customer assets, wallets, withdrawals. I was not the decision maker. I basically worked my way up throughout the 3.5 years from content manager to vice president, primarily, as you know, in the role of an educator and for thought leadership. And in the absence of a CEO for about 1.5 years, it's clear that I became the kind of face of the exchange. And so one of the entities, as most of you will know, Accumulate, was under my name. This was after the head of marketing left the exchange. It was a favor that I did for the company. Accumulate was for the marketing work only, and basically, per definition, doesn't have anything to do with finances, customer assets, wallets. So I come here exactly as the person that I hope you know, and not the person that maybe many of you have made me out to be. This is going to be the only AMA that I want to do on the subject, because I do want to move on into the new role, but I don't do that with as if AAX and as if you and the users didn't exist. There may also be some staff in the group, perhaps, I don't know. I'm going through the people, I don't know. If you are, then that's great. This is definitely not an attempt to fish for new users. Taiwan and Hong Kong are not our target markets. But I hope everybody gets some, I hope everybody gets over the situation. If not financially, then at least emotionally. So first, I'm going to answer questions from the Twitter thread. I'll try to be really fast. It's being recorded, so you can always, listen to it again if you must. After that, I'll open up the floor for some questions and discussions. And then in the third part, for whoever wants to stay, I'll introduce the CEO of MaskX. And why is that? It's basically because there are just too many rumors going around. They're all wrong. It's best to get them out of the way as soon as possible. That's the approach. All right, so I'm going to answer the questions, and then I'll open the floor. So the first one that I have is from D. Vizzy. And he says, Ben, I'm the second admin. I'm not interested in the past. lawsuit is the only way. So 2 questions. Tell your story in the AMA. What do you know? And what do you want to share that can be of help in a lawsuit? And the second request is please tweet that AAX users can join the lawsuit. All right, so this is going to be my longest answer because it deals with a lot of the questions that people have asked. I think that my story is the story of the majority of staff. I think it was on a Friday, perhaps. I was just relaxing on my balcony. And I checked the AX app and I saw that there was a withdrawal suspension. And I don't know for how long. It might have been for 2 days or something. And it's a bit long, I thought. Those notifications are never nice. But you know, AX, if you remember, had maintenance quite often, especially a bit longer ago. I didn't think too much of it, and but I thought that the timing was bad. And, you know, FTX had just failed, so I knew that there would be anxiety. On Sunday, I woke up and I saw that the suspension was still in place. So now I became a bit worried. It's not because I thought there was going to be some rug pull. I just thought it was so unprofessional, like really stupid. You know, there's always this crisis management, and it's just not a good idea to have this type of problem. So I worried a lot actually about community sentiment. So senior staff, including myself, we were called into an emergency meeting, and it became clear that there was a real problem. And we were informed that the withdrawal suspension would be prolonged even longer, 7 to 10 days. And the reason that was given was that there was a risk to third-party failure, and this suspension was all out of precaution. So many of us thought this is unacceptable. You know, the whole idea of a withdrawal suspension is really problematic, just, you know, from a crypto perspective. But extending it for so long is very terrible. So I had no doubt about the intentions behind it. We would, of course, resume normal operations. This was the absolute expectation. So I was mostly concerned about community sentiment. You know, suspending withdrawals is actually dangerous. We know that. Like when banks shut down their ATMs, people get worried, they get upset. I knew that people could come to the office. I told my team it's okay to work from home because I knew that 7 to 10 days is too long. People will get very panicked. So at this time, hold on, let me take a sip of my coffee. All right. So in these first few days, I had every expectation that we would resume operations. But as we were thinking and asking questions to the top leadership, you know, about how to inform the community, and I think you must have noticed, because I think this came out in the second press release. So we asked more questions, and we discovered, you know, more than a third-party failure. You know, it had something to do with investors pulling out money from the exchange. All right. So probably we thought, okay, they may be panicked or something about, you know, the FTX failure, temporary. And we could see, you know, around us, it wasn't just AX. There were bank runs happening on other exchanges. I think BitCoke collapsed at this time as well. So the PR team kind of went rogue and announced very directly, and this was reported in CoinDesk, that the real problem had to do with pressure on the funds, and AX was at risk of a default. So now we knew there was a real problem. And of course, the question is why? Like, if investors pull out funds, why would this put AAX at risk of default? Or more importantly, why would it affect users' funds? And people were asking the same question. But they also came to us. And this is also where I started to become very worried, really worried. What do we know about the segregation between user and company funds? And we don't know if these have been respected. Of course, AX wasn't sponsoring the big stadiums in Miami and these things, but of course we were spending money. A company spends money to grow. But there were no answers. There were no confirmations. Could only guess why this would affect users' funds at all. So now the sentiment in the community turned very bad. And this is another question that people asked, what solutions did you guys come up with? So we came up with several solutions, and I'll go through them now. First, it was very obvious that we needed to find investors. So, maybe we could find investors, and then the owners of AX could sell some of their shares and get the capital needed to ensure that we could survive a bank run. So many, but definitely a few team members started to reach out to investors in Hong Kong and elsewhere. And I know for sure that they gave it a lot. Some of you in here that I recognize were somehow involved as well through Telegram, as I understand. Secondly, and I think many of you will remember, we thought it was ridiculous, actually, to spend withdrawals completely. And so we tried to convince upper management to open up small withdrawals. And this is really, time is running out because user sentiment is very volatile, like Bitcoin. And, we knew that this was a really, because AX could make it, right? AX could get out of it. So we wanted to survive. And we thought about the idea of small withdrawals. So we sent out a form to get people to input their claims. And this would enable us to get a very good sense of what amounts people wanted to withdraw. And mostly we needed this document to kind of convince upper management to do this. And there really wasn't that much. I think there was just around 4,000 people that sent in requests. And the average withdrawal request was for around $2,000. So we presented the data to upper management and said, look, even if AX allows for $100 a day withdrawal, that would already be good because $100 means maybe nothing to the millionaire trader, but for the retail customers, especially those who really needed the money at the time, that would already do something. This was also the sentiment in the community, if you remember. At this time I got hundreds of messages a day. So I know how people suffered and maybe continue to suffer. Some guy from Ukraine, needed money to pay for rent or food while the war was going on. So small withdrawals made sense and they would have been useful. But the response from management then was negative. It was risky. We were told the hot wallet may not have enough. What can we do? So, we have no power over management. These are just solutions that we brought. We tried to reason and explain that small withdrawals are very good. They're a good way to show goodwill, to show that we're trying to fix it. It's good for retail users who really need money. Everybody knows we targeted the emerging markets. This was the story of empowering the masses. So it's become, it's extra sad in a sense. It was difficult. The solution, this one, kept being postponed and was eventually rejected in favor of just waiting for the platform to resume operations. So in the meantime, talks with investors were going okay. According to some of my team members, there were some investors in Hong Kong who really seemed willing to help and invest capital and bet on a great future for AX. And our 2023 plans were really promising. And AX was doing well. So there was a real interest still from people, even though everybody, including the investors, felt worried about the industry at large. So it was really difficult to get commitment, but we were getting somewhere. So I didn't join these investor talks, but I did join one meeting with a big exchange. This is after the community asked me to tag an industry leader and try to get some attention for AX, if some of you remember. But even to this idea, there was a lot of resistance. And my guess, if you want to know, is that it probably didn't solve the underlying issue. And so nothing made sense. And, I started to lose hope as well, a little bit. Another solution that we came up with came actually from one of the users. This is one of the supporters of AAB, Sharif. I spoke with him. I thought it was a great idea. The idea would be that users would temporarily accept to lock up some of their funds for, let's say, 6 months for some small yield. And that would basically buy AX time to solve issues, get through the process with potential investors because it takes time. And there was quite some support for the idea. Maybe like 80% in the Telegram community voted. But, it's only like 2,000 votes or something. But okay. Why was it rejected? I don't know. It wasn't the best solution. But again, it would open up withdrawals. People would probably withdraw whatever they had left. But, you could work with investors and spend 6 months to regain trust. And, I knew that if AX could pull through, we could win, right? AX would win big because FTX had just fallen. And there were no good stories. Everything was just falling apart. So, yeah, it would be such a victory. And but no agreement, no confirmation on this solution. Another idea, this is the last one that I'll discuss, was the idea of issuing a debt token. So this is what Bitfinex did a few years back after a hack for a much bigger amount. It's quite simple. It's not perfect, but it's simple. Basically, AX would have issued a token and give these tokens to users. So let's say if AX owes Johnny $200, we give Johnny 200 debt tokens. And if we owe someone else $150,000, then they get 150,000 debt tokens. Of course, it's worth nothing in the beginning. So, you hold it. AX would resume operations and would try and find investors. And they would commit to burning tokens and doing buybacks based on real revenue. And so this way, the token would have the drive to appreciate in price. AX promises the community to bring the value of the token up to $1. So that one day Johnny has his $200 and everybody is made whole, at least from the time of loss. And, if people had enough trust in AX, some people would come in to speculate on the token. And it's a pretty easy trade, actually. If AX were to resume operations, this was actually a very reasonable idea. Bitfinex did it and succeeded. And even recently on LinkedIn, I saw another company that's literally doing this now. So we almost got a green light, and eventually it just got ignored. So while this is going on, and remember, all of this is just in those first few days, it started to get very stressful. I got a lot of people, many of you as well, to reach out to me. Of course, I was the public figure for AX. Still for people to the public. As you know, some staff deleted their AX positions or associations from LinkedIn. Some users send me some threatening messages, which I understand, but all at the same time is quite a stressful thing. So I don't know, on a night, I decided to call users personally. I just thought, okay, I'm just going to sit down and call everybody. So I called around 10 people, someone in Argentina. I called a guy awake in Hong Kong, some random Telegram numbers. I knew that I couldn't solve anything, but I knew people were very worried. And I thought I can just call people and just explain where we are. And so I thought if I fight really hard and really well, then eventually management will come to its senses. They're going to accept one of our solutions because we had like 5 options. And done, we win, everybody wins, the industry wins. But the next day, I actually got a message asking me to stop calling users. Maybe there's some risk. So at this time, it's difficult because as an employee, you cannot do everything on your own behalf. And so, especially if you expect the company to survive, you have to respect some of the company structures. And companies cannot disclose everything. So fine, I cannot call users personally. So by this time, given the amounts of threats I had received, I left Hong Kong for a few days to Singapore. But that was also very uncomfortable. So I flew back to Hong Kong. And while I was on the plane, I became aware that there was a real chance that AX would actually stop operations and declare bankruptcy. And I didn't like it because it's really like a dream that fell apart. But it would have been acceptable. It would be like a legal process. And there would be reimbursements, selling off company assets, all the stuff, maybe it takes long. But all those solutions that we'd offered were already rejected. And I was not going to be part of prolonging this for no good reason. So if the company was going to close, That's fine. I needed to quit publicly. I don't think it was necessary to close, but all solutions I think were acceptable, better than nothing. With investors coming in, we could have resumed operations. This is what I think. There was room for growth, but if the company was going to close, then no. So I resigned. First, I resigned in private with HR. Then I informed the staff publicly, and then I informed the community, or I confirmed it on Twitter. I know the staff were very shocked because I know that they trusted me, and for me to quit would mean that the situation is really bad. And so I felt people that, including me, including the staff, were not being told all the details and the real underlying situation. So many of you saw that the private messages between HR and our COO. The company was, to all our belief, intending to shut down and go into liquidation. This is the part that leaked somewhere and was, I don't know, you find it on the media somewhere. So I believed this. I thought, okay, management cannot accept those solutions, but at least, an appointed official is going to come in and deal with the legal liquidation. So you saw in my message as well that I didn't believe there was any evil intention to run away with funds. At least we would see a liquidation. FTX was doing it, other companies like Celsius. So I thought, all right, that's where AX is headed, business failure. Resigning was really tough. It was just a shit period. Even before I resigned, it was just a horrible time. I think everybody had a horrible time, very stressful. Many of you I never met. Some of you are my friends. People lost them or were at risk of losing their money. And so each morning I'd wake up, I'd read my phone, and that's it. I would just be trying to answer people. But I knew it wasn't something that I could solve personally unless these solutions were accepted. So around this time, the police, Hong Kong police force reached out to me. This is also what I've said publicly. I thought that, there was no use. In fact, I was afraid that it would escalate things. What can the police do to recover the assets? It's really complicated. I was afraid that getting police involved would scare management and would make everything even more difficult. But okay, when I got the call from the police, there's no other option now. Now it's become this thing. So, I went to the police headquarters. First, I went there with legal representation because I had no idea what would happen. But the lawyers actually advised me to be quiet and, say nothing. And it's really useless. I felt very bad. And there was no reason for me to be quiet because I knew that I did nothing wrong. So there was just no reason. So a few days later, I returned to the police, this time without a lawyer. And I just sat there and I gave them a 6-hour long recorded video statement. Afterwards, they accompanied me into my home to do a house search. And I have handed over all documents that I might have on the company. And even to this day, if I get a call or if I have certain things, then we collaborate and I provide information where I can. But as you get involved with the investigation, and especially after the arrest of 2 of my former colleagues, it becomes, again, very difficult to share with the public. So, I went silent for maybe 3 months or 2.5 months. Maybe people think it's easy, but that's not the case at all. There's people everywhere, right? So some people follow Instagram and they see a picture of me in Thailand. That's a trip that I organized many months ago to see my family. I was in a pretty shitty condition, very down, smoke a lot. So it's a bad time. And, losing money, everybody lost money. Losing money is one thing. It's really horrible. Many people lost their jobs. In my case, I lost my team members. I lost the trust of people. I lost my feeling of safety in Hong Kong. It's a city that I love, actually. And so But at the same time, I know people are very emotional. I would probably have the same response and just hate whoever is associated with it. But we all work somewhere. I had big dreams and ambitions for AX, and I think 99% of the staff, including me, I think everybody feels rug pulled in some way. A big question people ask is, why didn't the company declare bankruptcy? So my guess is it's become a criminal investigation. So whoever is responsible is probably scared. It's my guess. But I did not expect this. I hope for something. Bitcoin is going up. Maybe the reserves go up. It can pay for everything. Yes, I have many hopes, but I cannot control it. I don't know anything about a lawsuit. I don't know if there is a use. In what jurisdiction would this be? Even if it's in Hong Kong, if the people that are responsible are not in Hong Kong, then what? And even if people are caught and go to jail, where's the money going to come from? So that's my personal view, because I think it's mostly about just getting the assets back. Sorry, but if there is a real formal lawsuit and you tweet about it, then yes, I can retweet it if it's real and legit. Okay, that was the longest answer. Very sorry for that, but it's a very big question. The rest of this will be faster. So the next question is from Dada, and he said, is there a chance that we can get our funds back from AX Ben? So I get this question a lot from everybody. First of all, I cannot tell you the future. Who knows? Maybe there's a miracle. Bitcoin goes up. It's massive. People feel guilty. I don't know. Personally, realistically, I think it's the longer it takes, the more difficult it gets. I know that's not nice to hear. In the first few days, yes, most of us believed AX could make it. And, everybody worked with each other for so long, so everybody assumes that the intentions are correct. But now, I don't know. You can pray, hope. Most importantly, I think, just appeal for help from the police to continue the investigation, because that's the only real thing. Other than that, I really don't know. Then I have a few questions actually, from a guy called Chang Son Cheng. He asks, will Mask EX undertake the debts AX absconded money? So the answer is no. These companies are not related. He also asked, when will AAX restart and return users' money? So I would say there is no AAX. If those who absconded with the assets care to give the funds back, would need to get the addresses of everybody and verify that people were AAX users. Or maybe they would have to do it through a law firm. But this would all be, it's more like a formal liquidation. And at the moment, still, 4 months later, I see nothing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really see a way for AX to resume operations. He also asks, did Ben participate in the meeting where the system was finally closed for withdrawal? And did Ben, have decision-making power? Let me just check how many people are here. Okay, so I'll answer that. No and no. So I found out about the first suspension on the app, just like you, just on the app, the notifications. And only when we had the crisis meeting on Sunday, it's more like receiving information. I didn't hold decision-making power in AX, not even on marketing. I was not the marketing lead. I was not the PR lead. I had influence in the exchange because I was trusted and I'd been there for a long time and had helped build up the whole marketing team. And of course, I was the public figure. So, yes, I decide what I say during a speech or write in an article. And I think internally, I always try to steer AX in a kind of sound direction. But it's different. With MassEX now, it comes with authority. But in AX, as some of the staff will definitely know, there were some restrictions. So I think the meeting where it was decided to suspend the withdrawals is key. How was it decided to suspend withdrawal? When was it exactly decided? By who exactly? For what exact reasons? These are key questions, and I don't know the answer. I think this is something for the police to focus on. And as far as I know, they are investigating this part exactly. There's a question from Jorge. This guy is from Argentina. He also messaged me privately a lot, and he asked me, why doesn't AX at least declare bankruptcy? I don't know. I think fear. Things escalated. Maybe it's incompetence. I'm not happy about it either. I can only answer you with the same question. Why? Jorge also asked me privately to help him. I said, how can I help you? He said I could give him back $2,000, which he lost. But he knows, of course, that I cannot from my own pocket start to pay hundreds of thousands of people back with money that I don't have for a loss that is not my fault. So there's just nothing I can do for him. I feel very bad for him. Maybe people or staff are afraid to talk to police. I did it. I know that there's been some former staff that have been very willing to hand over documentation, devices, anything relevant. Many staff have gone to the police to give their statements, as far as I know. That's what we can do. And I feel sorry for him. I know that he hates me. That's okay. I hope that, I know people's savings are like their dignity. And I think that wherever we stand in this situation, I think that all of us have lost or have been undermined in that dignity. So I want to respond to everything. So I'm very sorry. This is going to take longer until I've answered everything in the threads, and then I will open up the floor. His messages, he mentioned that I'm a liar. Actually, I trusted the people that I worked with. Maybe I was lied to. Maybe we were lied to. Maybe they were just wrong. But for sure, there was no lie intended. Someone mentioned to me, God will judge me. So I think that's true, and that's fine. I trust myself in this situation. Jeff, he asked me if I work for Mask EX now. So the answer is yes. I also need a job. Walt asked me if he will get his money back. I don't know, but I don't think so. Again, let the investigation continue. I think that is the best way forward. Maybe that's a good thing. But I also want to be realistic and feel like, even arresting people or convicting people, it doesn't necessarily mean that funds are recovered. Jess asked me a very good question. He or she asked me what AX did with user deposits and where the interest came from for savings. So I think a lot of people are curious about this. Hold on, let me check some messages that I see. Oh no, okay, so no need for, okay, you can send messages, but I prefer to open up the floor for more questions because I don't want to read and speak at the same time. So all those questions, please ask them just in the next part, please. But I know that many people are interested in this part about user deposits and where the interest came from for savings. So we in the marketing department were told for a long time that AX pays the interest on savings from our own revenue. So basically just out of pocket. It's like a marketing fee. That's not very sustainable, but we were told, the company has enough money. And there was no reason to question it at the time. And this is very interesting because I know the APYs were very high, but actually they were quite contained. So let's say an 80% APY, yes, but only for a maximum of $100 and then only for a maximum of 1 week. So the costs were very contained. And we had no reason to doubt it, But what's the truth, right? This is something that lies with finance. So I have no idea. On marketing, I think nobody knows. Surely for this part, maybe the investigation could uncover information about this. But it's about talking to the right people. So I never touched finance. So beyond that, I cannot tell you the answer. Sen K said, you should be in prison. So yeah, for these types of messages, I think everybody can understand. There is emotional reality, and then there's legal reality. And generally, I don't mind a little bit of spam, but definitely also in the future, no offense, but I just delete, block, move on. So after the AMA, I don't really take these messages. But for now, I left it in there just to clarify. Ka asked me if AX will start to operate again. I really don't think so. I mean, users could come together. They can launch a DEX. They can call it AX 2.0. They can have a DAO, launch a token. You know, there's a new AX then, run by users, for users. But no, I think the old AX will not resume operations. And, you know, it's not easy. This industry the competition is very fierce. Liquidity is hard to come by. It's very concentrated. And the market has not recovered yet. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't think it will come back. A Chinese account that I cannot read the name of asked how much is trapped in AX. So I don't know. The numbers kept changing. I think during the police conference, the amount of $30 million was mentioned, or maybe that is just what users were claiming. I don't know. I think finance can answer. I can only guess. Will AX go bankrupt and get liquidated? That is what I expected. That's what everybody expected. As you could all see in that leaked message, that was the expectation. And now it's very silent. So my honest view is that I doubt it. Was AAX interest on savings simply a Ponzi? So I don't think so. And this is from my perspective. Nothing about AX actually gave me the idea that AX was a scam. Too many genuine people and genuine people in management working together on a big dream. Something went wrong. It escalated very quickly. The damage is very great. But was savings a Ponzi? I don't think so. I just don't believe there were bad intentions behind this exchange. But investigation could uncover more truth around this. Almost, by the way, maybe 5 minutes. Jess, he asked me about the intent of ongoing movements in the crypto wallets and who is initiating these transfers in the AX crypto wallets. So, like I said, I don't know the wallet addresses. I never did. Every now and then I get a message, either from somebody in the community or some old staff, a friend. I get like a screenshot, you know, of the Telegram investigation group where it's being reported that funds are being moved. You know, and I get a screenshot, and I don't know if these wallets belong to AX because I'm also not in the Telegram group. I don't know if there's just speculation or whether these are actual known addresses, confirmed AX wallet addresses. And then who is moving them? I don't know. Maybe a few people with technical knowledge, maybe people that I never met or heard about. Yeah, when I heard these rumors come out, I get very shocked. I have a lot of trust in people around me. I had a lot of trust in people around me. So every time that I hear something to do with this, I feel very shocked. High Profit Solutions tells me people are very angry, and how can I live like this? So I don't know. Maybe he thinks I'm swimming in money. I don't have much to answer here. I don't have much of a choice in this. I was not the owner, the CEO. I was the public figure, and so I try to answer people. But I can't answer about a lot of stuff. I don't touch and haven't touched finances or wallets. Okay, there's another question from Chan Song Cheng. He asked me, why didn't I just stay in Hong Kong and accept the investigation instead of going to Dubai to work for MaskEX? So, as I mentioned, I stayed. I still live in Hong Kong. I've been available to the police. Actually, this week, a few days ago, was the first time in my life that I ever set foot in Dubai. Because yes, after about 4 months, I also need to work. They offered me a position. I took the job, and I am still facing you. I think this is a fair moment to do this. He asked me if I've given the police useful information about Mr. Su Wei. And so, yeah, whenever I hear this name, I feel sadness. I cannot comment on this person, but surely as part of the police investigation, I do not hold back information. I don't hold back my opinion. Everybody is responsible for their own actions, and I cannot comment on this. Some people ask me why I'm bringing MaskEX into this. So I wouldn't have actually. I didn't want to at all. But logically, when I announced when the position was announced, yeah, I think MaskEX was brought into it. And so I think I just want to move, put it out of get some clarity that these things are not related. If I had joined McDonald's, it wouldn't have, made McDonald's a scam or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just want to clear it up. So yeah, just so everybody knows, Hong Kong and Taiwan are not target markets. So, stay with Binance or whatever you trade with. This is not about user acquisition. It's just what it is. Okay, for Jack, he addressed me in Spanish. Yes, I also hope you will get your $200 back. It's very difficult, I'm aware. Hong Kong Services asked me about MaskEX. I think I just answered that. Okay, sorry. Then I get a lot of questions from Satoshi's Pleb. So Satoshi's Pleb, he asked me, what am I doing to provide more transparency? So I hope with this AMA that I've given a little bit, and that I can give more of a clear picture about the steps that we took, including the solutions that we tried to come up with or came up with, but those were also rejected. He asked me if the 10 km market maker is the reason AAX failed. I don't know. I know there was some leaked article on the South China Morning Post about 10 km. I don't know if it's true. I think it's very convenient always, companies fall and it's like, oh yeah, we had exposure to FTX. It's very easy. I don't know if it's true. I think people the police can find out. And yeah, I don't know the answer. He asked me if Cumulate premises hosted 10 km. So the answer is no. So I can give some information on Cumulate. I think people will be interested to know why my name is on the registry. So a few years ago, Hong Kong announced that they would be quite strict on exchanges, and in the future, it would not be allowed to operate in Hong Kong. And so one of the ways that exchanges protect themselves is by splitting up into entities. In some cases, it's even required to have certain business parts brought under a different entity. So Cumulate was created as a kind of marketing outsourcing agency. So imagine, for example, that AX was really not allowed to operate in Hong Kong except for marketing services. Then something like Cumulate would actually make it possible to keep talent, to hire people in Hong Kong who only focus on marketing. So this is why Cumulate was created. And later, when the previous head of marketing left, HR simply asked me if I would be willing to be the Cumulate director. At the time, there was no staff on the Cumulate, no offices, nothing. It was just an entity which may or may not, become activated depending on regulation that everybody was still waiting for. And nobody else would do it, so I did it. No marketing agreements were signed under Cumulate or any expenditures. But towards the end, in the final few months before AX collapsed, basically all the marketing staff had been placed under Cumulate. But in this story that we are talking about today, I would say it's more of a protection for me. Cumulate is marketing. It doesn't touch operations, finance. Towards the end, and I was not very happy about it, but the officers were also placed under Cumulate. But not the 10 km office. I've actually never been there. I know it was in Central. But for the marketing offices, all were placed on the Cumulate. And why did I do that? I mean, you work for AX, you support AX, and, with crypto exchanges, it's always a bit of a gray area. And I was fine, but I was, of course, not prepared for what was to come. Satoshi's Pleb asked me about user numbers. So we had millions of registrations. Not everybody became active. I actually never had the access to the dashboard, and that's very interesting because I know that's something that came up with SBF as well. But remember, I was not the CEO. I was not the head of marketing or head of operations. I actually didn't care too much about any dashboard. I just did what I did. I know that we had a few thousand daily active users. He asked about 10 km's exposure. I don't know. He also asked me if AAX really had the LSEC technology certification. And so the answer is yes, it's real. It was very unique and expensive. And it's actually why I was very interested to join. AX was the first crypto exchange to do it. So it was real. And that's that. Daily trade volumes, the same answer. But you know, the thing is, CoinGecko, CryptoCompare, CoinMarketCap, they have ways to detect wash trading and such practices. And we could see that AX was really doing really well in the beginning of 2022 for months on end. And we did actually rise in the ranks to the second spot after Binance in spot volume. So AX was definitely doing well, like spirits were very high. Satoshi's Pleb also asked me, why did Victor Su prefer to flee rather than put the company into liquidation? I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I can't comment on this part, unfortunately. Beyond my own feelings, you know, I cannot comment. It's under investigation. He asked me, how much do I know about 10km? So what I know is that they're a market maker. Every exchange needs market makers. I don't even think they were that important anymore towards the end. AX had multiple market makers. And from what I understood, 10km was less and less important. Yeah. Okay, so I answered many questions. This is the information that I've also shared with the police. Maybe many of you are disappointed in the things I have to tell you. But I still think clarity is quite important. Everybody needs some closure, I guess. I think it's quite clear that I cannot solve this for you. If there is a request from the police to testify or make some public statement, I will surely do it. I've already communicated this to police. And so now I want to open up the floor to people. I don't know how to do it. I think you should send some speaking request and then I can approve it somewhere. And then after that, I will move to the MaskX part. Okay, let me check. There's no requests. Is there a request? I hope people heard me, by the way. I hope I didn't just talk for an hour. I can speak Mandarin. Okay, so seriously, I've never hosted a Spaces. Oh, here, requests. Oh, this one. Hello? Oh, I only get MaskX. Hey, I don't know how to get somebody in here. So, and I don't even know if people want to, because I don't want to answer from the thread now. I just think people should come up and talk. Okay, here, hold on. Alison.
Hi, Ben. Hi, Ben. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hold on. Hi.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. It's Eric, the CEO of MaskX. Because I just feel I need to make sound very strong
But
statement.
hold on, Eric, because
Yeah.
Eric,
Can you hear me?
Eric, I want. Yeah, I do, but I want to first hold on, please. I need first to give the users. I know people have questions, so they need to come in and ask questions. Let me invite you back in the third part, please. Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Alison, I'm trying to connect you, but I cannot. It seems that it's just yeah. Anyway. Well, I'll wait a few minutes. If people want to say something, then can just have a request, and then don't be shy. There's not that many people in here. I'm just gonna wait. Yeah, hold on. Like Crypto Zen. You're very active in the Telegram community. You're very active on Twitter. You're very welcome to come and say something. Or Sean Ames. Or
Ben, I think
Yes.
the some of audience who come from Hong Kong and Taiwan, I think if you don't mind, let them to speak Mandarin. I can speak Mandarin and answer everything. I can translate for them. Yep.
Okay, that's also fine. And hold on, now maybe I can get somebody to come in, which is the second admin of the Telegram community. It's connecting. I'm not in charge of the internet connection, so I hope it will work. And there can be more requests. I can get a few more people who connect, because I don't know where you're coming from, the Visi. Okay. Maybe. Can you sorry, Divisi, can you try again? Because I don't know, it's just saying connecting, but it doesn't actually come through. You can send another request. Anybody can send a request. It really doesn't matter. I don't know how to work this thing. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I see a lot of questions. Okay, and this guy also. Yes. So, anyway. I think I was quite clear on the types of messages. Okay, anyway, I'm waiting for anybody actually to come in, and otherwise, oh, sorry, now I see some requests. Okay, this is the last time. Otherwise, anybody, I'll just let you in and see what happens, okay? This is 1, and this is 2. Okay. Okay, Jess, it seems you're through, so let's just start with the last time. Otherwise, anybody, I'll just let you in and see what happens, okay?
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay. I can hear Jess, I think, yes.
Okay, cool. First of all, thanks for holding this AMA. We do appreciate it. I just wanted to get an understanding of two questions, sorry. So the first one is, what happens to the Google form submissions that we gave with all our personal information? Because that's not the, normal process for handing over private information like that, including like photos or our personal ID information as well. What happened to that information? And the second question is, I can see that when we make a deposit into AAX, the funds automatically get moved into an aggregator wallet, and then it gets, moved to other places. What was the intention of that move if the user deposits were not the source of paying out the user's interest on the savings? And also, if was there a reason why it had to be moved to different wallets after we deposit if they weren't going to, do anything malicious with our funds?
Okay, understand. Thank you. The first question, which is about the sorry, what's the question?
The Google form.
Sorry. Oh, sorry, the Google form. Yes, I understand that's very sensitive. So first of all, this was a very, as you can hear from the story, a very crisis-driven thing, and we were really trying to definitely get those small withdrawals. The Google form was in the Google Drive, which is not accessible to all, but under the AX domain, and the whole Google Drive has definitely been deleted along with all the email addresses, because nobody had access anymore to the email addresses very soon, and to the Google accounts. So if you ask, it must exist in, let's say, the servers of Google, but not with any person. Understand there's a lot of risk with that, but that's the context of that form, and I think that provides some clarity on why that form was there, and that was part of trying to look for the solutions. The second thing, so anything about movements of funds, I can speculate. I really wouldn't know. I think usually when people deposit into an exchange, most of it actually is moved into cold storage. That would be the proper practice. So it's not so strange for funds to move on chain. But that's just a very general answer, and I really wouldn't dare to answer anything about movements of funds.
Sorry, do you mind if I ask one more follow-up question in regards to the Google form?
Sure.
Yep. Who actually had access to see our information? because I understand that it was going to be processed manually by staff. So from what we heard, it is going to be like looked at one by one. That's a little concerning.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
Yep. So who was actually able to access it?
So of course, generally, the exchange handles KYC information. So this would have gone to the tech team to see the amounts and the withdrawals, requests and the addresses. But any names I wouldn't know, and also it's not I can't say names here like that. But
or
I understand.
Like departments. Like, was it anybody that had access, as long as they worked at AAX, they can just log in and review? Was there a team of people that was put together to actively be working on it? Or was it just you've submitted it and whoever gets access at management level that controls this account will possibly may have read it, but they may not have, and we don't, that there was nobody really dedicated to work on this?
Understand. No, I don't think there was anyone dedicated, but this is not some link that anyone can get. It was collected by 2 staff members maybe, and then shared with finance to see. But beyond that, it's not something that was shared within all the staff members. And this was also a very short period of time, and the form itself, it was more about the numbers to see like how many deposit requests there were and the amount. So it's not so much about the KYC data. So maybe
the intention, I don't doubt the intention. But nonetheless, what's happened has happened, and the requirement that we had to provide, like the information you required us to provide, included very sensitive information, which could have like major dire consequences to everybody that submitted that form, from simple things to just like identity fraud to like ruining their whole freaking lives and just getting framed for things that they didn't do. Like there's just so much things that could be done with our personal information, which is not the most secure way to communicate that information via Google Forms, and not knowing what happened to it afterwards is a whole different can of worms.
Yes, I understand. Okay, Jess, I'm going to give the floor to the next person.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
And thank you very much. All right, this is this one. Okay. Constance is connecting, and here's another person. Okay, whoever gets connected first can speak, and there's Alessandra again. Also try. Okay, 3, and then see what happens. Constant, I guess you could speak, please.
Oh, I can go, or Consta?
Yeah. Let maybe Consta, because he was just slightly before.
Okay.
First come, first serve. Constance, please.
Somebody hear me?
Yes.
So the question is, Ben, can you? It's not a question. Sorry about my English, but can you explain me why you not contact with Telegram group about investigation and other stuff in personally must have a answer about situation with AX. Why you not contact with Telegram? Why you finish this?
Yes,
Sorry.
I think it's enough. No problem. Thank you. I think it's enough. So I have a certain responsibility. Definitely when I was with AX, and I faced maybe hundreds of messages, hundreds of people. And, there comes an end to that responsibility. And so I didn't stay in the group. But as you can see, 3-4 months later, I'm willing to address some people. So yeah, that's why. And the investigation is with the police as well. Instead of, I understand the investigation group of AX can be a useful vehicle, but the real investigation is with the police. All right, I'll move to the next person. Thank you. Because it's not the intention to have like discussion. So I'll give it the Tashvir then. Thank you.
Yeah, you got the pronunciation right, bro. Thank you. Consta, thank you for being here, bro. That was a good question. Mine's a little different though. So Ben, you're a successful guy. I mean, we all know this. And I myself, I'm not super into crypto. I kind of got a foot in or whatever. I haven't really gotten that sort of push yet, because the reason why is, I'm not gonna lie, my question pretty much is, like, if I really get into the crypto stuff, like, will I be able to pull the ladies?
Okay, well, that's a very good question. And that could definitely be the case if you do well. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, bro. Money talks.
All right.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, next person. Crypto D. And D-Visi again. Sorry about it. I don't know why you can't seem to connect, but let's try. Okay, Crypto D, you can say something. That's wonderful. All right, and here's somebody else. I'm just adding people, and if you can speak, then speak. Xiao Yu can speak.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
So it's really a two-part question. So first of all, I want to know, is there any investigation going on right now towards AAX collapse?
Absolutely. And the investigation is happening by the Commercial Crime Bureau in Hong Kong. There's a few officers that are allocated to this task, because by now there's around 800 or maybe 900 complaints from Hong Kong citizens, from Taiwan, from Italy, from other places. So I know it's a big case and they care about it. And maybe once a week or once every 10 days, I maybe got a phone call with some more questions. They've definitely reached out to a lot of staff, and the investigation is ongoing. Yes.
Oh, okay, good to know. The second question is that from what I see, AAX collapsed right after the FTX event, and from my imagination, it's not hard to not think that AAX supply high APY by depositing their funds in FTX, for example, to gain interest. So, and the result is that since FTX was gone, so did AAX. So my question is, do you think this is how AAX provide the high APYs on their platform?
Okay, thank you for the question. I will. I think I answered this in my long monologue, which is that from the marketing perspective, we were told that this is paid from AX revenue, the savings, and who knows if this is true. I really don't know the exposure to FTX, if at all. There are, of course, people who would know. So I would say that is an interesting part of an investigation. And that's about anything I can say about it. All right, I have to move on. Okay. Sorry.
No problem.
Yeah, just I need to avoid discussion. So I just let people speak. Thank you so much.
Hello?
Hello, yes.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I have two questions to ask. First is because during the incident of the AFX having issue with withdrawal and the auto withdrawal, in the committee we asked you if AX have any issue with going insolvent or liquidity or being exposed to FTX, and you, Ben, you really told us no, that you guys were not exposed, and you told us nothing was wrong with AS, that it's going to be on you guys are going on a maintenance, and you kept telling us, giving us hope that you guys are working things out for AX to come back, and then they will open withdrawal before the time of requesting for manual withdrawal, which we filled before. And secondly, you suddenly resigned from AX without giving us a prior info, and we were questioning you if we can have an AMA section to know what is going on. You decline that. you declined that you guys are working on it, that as you come back, we kept asking you several questions regarding if there's liquidity issue. You told us no. And secondly, I want to ask, how do you said you have no information about finance. Then November or there about December, we heard that you actually posted it that the staff were paid. Then how did you get to know that the staff were paid? Who were those people that in charge that paid those staff? So that is what I just want to know.
Okay, thank you very much. So here's the thing: when it comes to communicating things to the public, it is always based on the information that we receive, right? So in my part, it doesn't mean I have to go and check the cash flow or the balance sheets in order to deliver any message that comes from the platform. So if internally the first information we get is no, there is no liquidity issue, it's a third-party problem, there was no reason to have any doubt in each other in the company. So this was definitely the way, this was the message that we received at marketing. And secondly, the other question that you asked, can you repeat the second question, please? Or not repeat, but just remind me.
Was your resignation without prior notice to the community, which you were saying you were supporting us and you're going to make sure you fight to the end. You resigned without any prior notice to us.
Yes. Okay, I can answer that. So as I mentioned, and you can listen back to the recording, in the first few days, definitely the first week, there was definitely every hope, every intention, every expectation that we would pull through. So of course, the user sentiment, very important, and making sure people understand what's going on. And at the same time, I knew if I see that this is going in the wrong way, like I'm not going to play the role of prolonging something if it's not going to work out. So I did fight. And when all the solutions were rejected and I came to the knowledge that the company was going to shut down and go into liquidation, the only way that I could signal that was quitting. So I quit. I let the staff know, so people really knew, because nobody was being told that it was going to shut down. This was the post that leaked. And so my signal to the public and to the staff was that I quit, because I would never quit. If AX had any option to survive, I wouldn't have quit, because I very much loved AX and wanted it to be a success. So hopefully that answers that. Thank you.
Yeah, my last question, you answered the one that you said that staff were paid, and since you don't have any access to financing, how did they get paid? And who paid the funds?
Yes. Okay, so yes, I remember that question. So actually, remember that AX shut down, or let's say stopped withdrawals very suddenly, right? This was very sudden. We just opened a new office. This was not a thing that was coming. So of course, AX staff that were let's say terminated quite early were able to get paid because there was a fiat account. Now, if that is the source of those salaries, then I don't know, because I don't pay the salaries. And how do I know that people and staff receive salaries? Is because people talk to each other, and people did receive the last salary, but nobody received, as far as I know, severance pay or anything extra, no extra benefits, just the last salary. And as far as I know, and I cannot confirm this, this was from fiat accounts and not from anything from the wallets. So hopefully that answers it. I have to now move to the next person. This one. Hello, Crypto Zen. You're a speaker now. Okay, I'll let this one in as well.
Hello, Ben. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Crypto Zen here. Actually, thanks a lot for your time. I really appreciate it. I can expect that this section will be longer than expected. But sorry, I have quite a few questions, and if you don't mind, please try your best to answer. And the first question is, who were as far as you know, you work for AAX, right? So who were actually involved in the operations of the company, and who really knew about the intending shutdown of AAX? Yeah, and yeah, this is the first questions. Can you please answer first? Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay, so yeah, the answer to this is going to be very annoying to you. Of course, I cannot, and I don't. Of course, this is information that people only know if they're involved with that decision-making moment. We all have our guesses. We all have our ideas about it. I cannot mention names, but what I do know is that this is a key moment of interest for the police investigation. And that's really all I can say about it.
Okay, so for the second question is, I think a lot of us really want to know who really hold the keys of all wallets in terms of cold wallets and hot wallets at this moment, or the last moment you resigned the company. Do you know who hold the keys, and the so-called AKA end custodian?
Yes, I understand the question. This is, as you understand, even more important part of the investigation. There are some people of interest to the police, and I cannot comment on these people. That is the most vague answer I can give you.
Sorry,
it's not something that I can confirm because I don't know. We all have our guesses, and I'm sure the police has a good idea. And I would leave it at that.
Okay, so the third question is, let me see, because you once mentioned to users and media like Bloomberg, saying that the funds are of our users, all users, the funds are intact. So, so what makes AAX the failure, and why had it to do with all users as assets in this sense? Yeah.
Yeah, so the way that I can answer this is that where I draw the line, and this was, when this all started happening, the main question that I kept asking in any meeting that was of significance is, are user funds intact? So anybody, I don't know who's in this group, any staff that was part of those meetings knows that my question was always, are user funds intact? And the answer was yes. The entire funds, what we hold, are enough to cover all users, the liabilities. So this was a very clear answer. I even believe it to be true. So this answer was something that I definitely was able to share, because it's very important during this moment, if, with the expectation that everything is going to survive, it's very important to let people know, like, hey, funds haven't been stolen, everything is intact, the numbers are there. But of course, this is not just messaging to see, to make people happy. This was really a big concern. And so when it became clear that there was pressure on the funds, that's when there was a panic. There's a panic in among the staff, because everybody understands what that means, especially in the context of FTX. Please, the next question, if you have it.
Okay, so may I know, were all AAX management and key staff based in Hong Kong, like the operations team, the finance team, strategy teams, HR? Were they all based in Hong Kong? And I can say the actual headquarters was based in Hong Kong.
So this is a very good question. No, not all staff and not all senior leadership was always in Hong Kong or necessarily based in Hong Kong. Definitely spread out. And, as you can imagine, during COVID, this became much more of a possibility. And combined with kind of the strategy that we were growing in Singapore and Nigeria and some other countries, Turkey. We had offices and quite senior staff across the board. Hong Kong was historically the headquarters. So there was always this, that's where we had the nice kind of office. But these dynamics were definitely changing. Everybody was also waiting for the kind of what regulation would look like. But we were also very much headquartered, in a sense, in Singapore, where we also had a CEO, and there were definitely more centers of influence.
Okay, so we're all kind of a lot of formal staff like yourself or like HR or LNC legal and compliance or the treasury that functions employed under Atom International Technology Limited, which is a Hong Kong company.
Okay, so this is something that I will have to answer you a little bit more cautiously. So for sure, any of the entities is of interest in the police investigation, for sure. So that's why I need to be cautious with the answer. But definitely, Atom International was a technology company and would hold technology under it. So not marketing, but functions. I think that is the best answer I can give you there.
Okay, so because I'm aware from the CVs of the former staff,
meaning I
which
wouldn't know
is
if, let's say,
quite...
Treasury fell under Atom. I wouldn't know. But
yeah,
definitely,
from that,
not marketing.
It mentioned Atom International Technology Limited. It seems to me that HR, finance, treasury, and a lot of them were hired under this company. And so this is what I want to
Yeah, I
ask.
understand.
Yeah.
Understand.
Okay, cool. The last question is from my side, because I heard from some former staff already received their own assets, and maybe not all, but part of that. And who was the person who handled the actual return of staff assets? And it means that that person have the wallet's key, right? At least, or can push through the transfer or the withdrawal and then send it to the former staffs. So, do you think that person can reach out to the key holders like Victor Su Wei?
Okay, I hope.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, I hope. I don't know if people. Yeah, I hear you, but it was very broken up. But I think I get the gist of your question. Yes, so a few months ago, that's true. Yes, I hear you. I'm not sure if other people hear me. I hear you. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, I can't really hear you. I'm not sure about the others. Yeah. Hello. Hi. Hello, Ben. Can you hear me? Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello?
Do you hear me? I don't know if people can hear me.
Yes, now I can hear you. Sorry.
Hello?
Hi. Can you hear me, Ben? Hello?
Oh, you do?
Hello, Ben. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I want to talk, but I need some confirmation if people can.
Yeah, I think other users can hear my voice. This is what I guess. So, but we cannot hear your voice, Ben. So maybe can you not move around or go to a better spot that have good reception?
Sorry. There's no point for me to speak if I don't know if people hear me. Zen or Crypto Zen, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. So I'm still here and I can hear you now.
Silent. Okay,
I can hear
fine.
you now.
People hear me.
Yeah.
And if they got some of their assets back. So the way I understand it is that some, but not all staff have received some of their assets back, and varying percentages from just 10% to maybe 50% because I know, because I had hired somebody, she didn't receive anything back. So where that came from, I don't believe, because I think you guys, like everybody in the Telegram group, was already watching the cold wallets very closely. I don't believe it was from where it came from. I don't know, but definitely most staff perhaps have received some of their assets back. Yeah, that's also public knowledge and known knowledge. Okay. Next person, please. Okay, Alessandro, if you want to say something, there's another request. Yeah. Okay. I'll try Jess again. Jess, can you try to speak, please? Because some of the accounts, they don't connect. So Jess, I think you have a better connection. I'll try this one as well. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry, I know I had a turn already, but I think I just wanted to ask a follow-up question for Crypto Zen, because I don't think you actually answered the main point of her question, which was the person that had paid out the staff for the final wage. Whoever that person was, number one, do you know who they are? And number two, could that person get in touch with the powers that be who call the shots? You don't need to name names as such, but would that person not have have the key or access to the people that has the keys in order to initiate those transfers?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's a yeah. I didn't actually hear Zen's complete question. It just completely broke. Okay, so there are two things to distinguish. Number one, all the staff that have been terminated or resigned, including myself, have received a kind of final salary, just a normal fiat salary in your bank account, and this, if I'm correct, would not have been handled by anybody other than just the normal kind of whoever was left on the HR and on finance to handle the normal operations of a salary. I think everybody's upset that there was no severance pay, so trying to make clear that these are fiat salaries with like no extra. The second part is that a lot of us, I think everybody that worked at AX at least had some of their funds in the AX app, and so and for some those were big amounts, for some they were small amounts, and from what I understand is that most of the staff have received something back, never 100%, but something, and where that came from with HR. Like those people are not involved with any of the wallet structures, but how that was done is really a mystery. It just came. It is on the public record, but public knowledge like that.
So the salary that was paid was it in stablecoin, or was it like a bank transfer, how a normal company would pay its staff, or was it as a cryptocurrency that got paid by stablecoin or some other?
No. So exactly, just as a normal bank transfer, just the way we always receive salary, just the normal bank transfer.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. All right. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Okay, I'll move to the next part. It's not actually longer than I expected this to be. I knew this was gonna be a long session. I know I gave a very long monologue. There's information in there. All of this information is the same information that I would have revealed to police, and they must have more information as they have spoken to more people. The final part, we can still have people come in, but there is something to clear up about any kind of I'm gonna try again, Dizzy. I'm gonna try it again, but you can't. It doesn't seem like you connect. You are. I'm very sorry about that. Maybe before we move to the next part, I will try to. I see a lot of messages. I think. Yeah, somebody asked me, like, could you fight for us for AX victim? I don't know how I can fight for you. It's just for me, the intention of this AMA is just to provide some clarity. People have a lot of questions, some anger. It feels maybe very, like, how is it possible that people can move on? It's difficult for everybody. So I realize that, and that's why I organized this AMA. I think we can just move to the next part, the last part. People can leave if they don't like it. They can stay if they do. It's just to clarify that these are not shared companies, and we have to do that as well. I don't even know if you can hear me, Eric, but definitely can come in if you want to say something.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very, feel sorry for everyone's loss, to be honest. But I still have to make some very clear statement to protect the UAE government. And
I don't hear anything.
The Sheikh office from. Yep. Can you hear me right now?
Let me send a small message.
Can you hear me?
Apologies.
Yeah. So Ben, can you hear me right now?
There may also be some. Oh, I don't hear anything. Okay, sorry. I don't know. It doesn't work. Yes. Hello? Okay, you rejoined. Can you try to speak?
Hi, Ben. Can you hear me right now? Is right now it's okay?
Yeah, it's okay. You can speak.
All right. first of all, I feel very sorry, really, for everyone lost. Because to be honest, but I still have to make some statement to protect the MAS-EX reputations and the UAE government, because the MAS-EX is a part of the UAE government company. So I think I have the right to protect these companies, the reputations, and protects all the reputation from the royal family in Abu Dhabi. Okay, because I know you guys are very disappointed, but what I can suggest you to keep push the Hong Kong police, because the law firms later could ask the Circle or USD, the Tether company, to freeze the USD digital assets, really, because you miss the proper time. At the beginning, you should concentrate on 100% on the Hong Kong police. And and the other thing is Ben, you hear me right now?
Yes.
And with the because of what they see is the Ben has been assisting the Hong Kong police to doing such as investigation, but a lot of the requirement by the Hong Kong police, he can't disclose, because it's according to the principle of a secret investigation. So, but I believe he did share a lot of very helpful knowledge and the intelligence, even for the some owner and something, because the Hong Kong police and they try to collect all the parcels from the Ben Caselin. This is that's what I did heard. Okay, so the third things is is like I know it's no one to see this happen. So, but for the MAS-EX, I don't want you to be you guys to be my customer. No, I don't need it. The MAS-EX doesn't need it, really, to be honest. So do not think also, okay, the reason why I recruit the Ben Caselin to work for me is I want the customer from the AAX, which is our victims already. Because I allowed the Ben to spend a lot of time, which is something I don't want to see, because he can't always look at the previous, the shit things. It's not keeping, moving forward. But I still allowed. I told Ben, yeah, you have the responsibility to help, such as the previous customer. Although it's not his fault, because we have a special channel to communicate with the Hong Kong police. I'm pretty sure, and he's innocent. Okay, it's not to get involved with a criminal. So this is why he can travel. It's not like the CEO of AX, the short Chen, or the other Coopers. I don't know. It's even for me, I didn't know them. Okay, and the second, the other thing is I heard some rumors say, hey, the AX is the MAS-EX is another AX like the Rock or the Scam project. Okay, I think I can understand how everyone was so angry, but all the charge should be based on solid evidence and facts. Otherwise, we definitely will take our legal actions, really, because we have a lawyer in Abu Dhabi, in UAE. I have to protect, because I'm the co-founders. Okay, I'm not just just pure CEO. At the MAS-EX, I really like the CZ level. This is why the Abu Dhabi fund to pick me up instead of the other CX. Okay, so that charge is very serious. So everything should have a bottom line. Really, you can speak the emotional word I can accept, but some word touches our bottom line, we definitely will take legal actions really seriously. Okay, so you definitely damages the UAE government. Okay, it's not allowed. So we hope all the conversations should be based on the rational, except the emotional. Okay, so I can keep allow the Ben spend the extra time or the leisure time to help you guys. That is something I have the commitment with the Ben. But for me, for the CEO of company, this is something I don't want to see, because you work for the MAS-EX. Why you still look at the previous things and work for some of the victims who the AX? It's not correct. But I still allowed him to to do so, because you guys can charge just one guy who is willing to stand up to answer you, and you guys do not charge those guys escape, run away. It's not correct, really. So I think don't let the culture of the witches hunt and the culture and the ideas take over your logical. Really, everything should be based on, any charge should be based on the evidence, factors. Really, that's what I wanted to say. Okay, nothing else. I'm not today. I'm speaking here. It's not promoting MassEX. Nothing about it. I want give the Ben more time. Okay, even he's working at MassEX. Give him more time to help you guys, and I will ask him to keep assisting with the Hong Kong police. Okay, to do something that will help. For example, freeze the digital asset as soon as possible, because only one law enforcement latest really can do that. Even they swap the chain. Really. So I think but according to the principle of the secret investigation, I couldn't also the Ben couldn't disclose too many things. But I believe she has been still working on the Hong Kong police. So what I expect, for example, the release of fund, I don't know if it will happen soon or not, but that is something he's keeping working on. Really. Okay. So that's pretty much what I'm going to say today, Ben. It's back to you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Eric, as well. Before I close this, I can try to let people in, but it doesn't work. The last opportunity for anybody who has something to say. There's a lot of the investigation group is very active. If you I can talk. Eric can translate for me. And otherwise, it's the investigation is ongoing, and that is what I can tell you. I hope that will lead to something. Maybe there's something useful that you took from this AMA. But that's also I know it's always nice that you can reach out in DMs and stuff. But I get a lot of the same questions. Enough now. I will continue to investigative procedures via the official channels. I'm very sorry to Alessandro. He's requested to speak 10 times, and I've tried to. Okay, we're going to try again. I can't help it, Alessandro. Maybe you are in Latin America or somewhere and the internet isn't working, or maybe my internet isn't working. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to shut down this call. We had about 2 hours. And thank you all again. I really hope that some resolution will be found eventually. No, I don't have him blocked. I haven't blocked Alessandro. No. Okay. Thank you very much, and goodbye.